Jim Reed, home management teacher. So home management teaches nothing but life skills. It's all about how do you run a home, either as part of a family or individually. So just think about everything that, your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, anybody over the age of 18 has to do to keep their home up and running. So they got to cook, they got to clean, they have to grocery shop, pay the bills, do the laundry, manage the mail. If they've got kids, they've got to manage their children. So that's the basics of what we do in that class, is just any and everything related to running a home. The cooking end of things, we're covering how do you cook any and everything. Most of it's made from scratch. There's a few things that are made from a box, but the reason we do most of it from scratch is we're trying to teach people the fundamental skills of how do you mix, pour, measure, chop, determine the right texture of a batter, determine when something is done. And if all you do is open a can or a package, you lose most of those opportunities. So my teaching style is, I like to tell them and then show them and then have them do it for themselves. So for example, if we're making bread and it's their first time, I'll be hands-on in there with them, making the dough side by side, telling them what I'm looking for, telling them what I'm feeling for. Maybe I'll shape out a couple of rolls, put them on the tray, tell them that this is what it should look like or feel like, and then they take it over from there. Well, if you have those skills of how to cook, clean, grocery shop, whatever else it is you want to do, then you don't have to rely on someone else to do it, number one. And number two, if you have those skills, then you have the ability to make a choice. So I can either clean my own house for myself, or I can hire somebody out to do it if I choose to do that. But if I don't know how to clean, then I have no choice but to have somebody else do it. So having those skills gives me the option of being able to choose how I want to live my life and under what terms and on what schedule. Some of the things that we cook are, for breakfast, we'll do all the usuals. So bacon, sausage, eggs, a bunch of different ways, pancakes, waffles, breakfast burritos. For lunch, we'll do some simple things like sandwiches, salads. We got a barbecue grill that we can fire up and do whatever we want on. For dinner type things, we have some simple stuff like meatloaf, mashed potatoes, steamed vegetables. How do you boil noodles? How do you make rice? Some intermediate type things like making some different stir fries, making different sauces, and putting them all together into something. We'll do a couple of advanced / specialty things like maybe cutting up a whole chicken and then using the bones from that chicken to make a chicken broth and then doing something with that broth. We have a baking and dessert section that covers everything from cakes, pies, cookies, brownies, biscuits, muffins, and so on. And biscuits are what we're doing here today. We have 4 stoves, 1 gas, and then 3 electric. 2 of those electrics are your cheap coil apartment type stoves, and then 1 is a flat top. In addition, we have all of your typical appliances that you might find in a house: George Foreman grills, deep fryers, waffle makers, electric skillets, and then, like I mentioned, we have a barbecue grill outside. So any of those type of appliances we have on hand. The next area of this class is cleaning. So anytime you cook, we'll do your daily dish and surface cleanup after you've cooked and made a mess and dirtied up some dishes. We also have some targeted cleaning assignments, like how do you do laundry, how do you sweep, mop, vacuum, how do you clean windows, how do you clean a refrigerator, how do you organize a pantry, how do you tear apart and clean and then put back together the stoves. So that's the kind of the cleaning end of things. And then the last area is, for lack of a better word, I call it administrative. So it's basically information in, information out. That includes things like how do you label, mark, and use appliances? How do you identify your money? How do you manage a budget? How do you grocery shop? How do you look for an apartment? And anything else? How do you manage your mail and pay your bills? So those are kind of that's the third area. They get to the store, they're going to use the shopping skills that I've taught them to do the shopping. And then when they come back here, they're using all of the cooking skills and so on that we've learned all along to make that final project. And then usually when they serve that last meal, once they've served it, they clean up, and then that's generally their last day. And so hopefully they've learned, then a little bit of how do you organize and plan for some sort of a party type of event, and they're getting a little bit of some confidence out of, executing something of a little higher pressure type of a situation. Our main goal for this class is to teach people basic skills that they need to independently run a home, and that hopefully then they can, with or without some sort of additional assistance, they can do whatever it is they need to do to keep themselves healthy and well-fed and their home cleaned and all that kind of stuff. If I can cook and clean and do whatever in my own house, then I can maybe contribute some of those similar things to some sort of other social function. Or if I can learn one skill in one area, I could probably learn a completely different skill in a different area with a similar amount of effort.